there, this is Tata, and welcome to the TNAIW Go Power Rankings show. As always, I'm joined by my two co-hosts, the star of the show, Burt Maclin, who has no relation to Steve Maclin.
How you doing?
And of course, the godfather of the Power Rankings, Lucha.
Oh, God. Okay, we're good. Hey, everybody. I was sitting here trying to do the Lucha taunt, which is the two sweets. But then I dropped my joint. Hi, everybody. How we doing? We're keeping all that shit in.
Yeah, okay. So it was a good episode of Impact Wrestling this week, but I think we have a lot to talk about. But before we get into that, who do you guys think made the Power Rankings this week?
Bert, you got it.
I think that, like I always say, the safest bet is who closes the show. So I would say the design would be somewhere near the top.
Yes, definitely. Callahan and the design would definitely be near the top for me. And I'd say Giselle Shaw. Excuse me, the Black Widow, Giselle Shaw.
She better be. She better be there.
So do we call her the quintessential Black Widow?
I don't know.
We can't call her the Black Diva for obvious reasons. So I guess we have to go with the quintessential Black Widow.
I like it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm interested to see how the design fit into the rankings versus the champs. Because post Hard to Kill, these top 10s have not been friendly to the champion. And I mean, is it for good reason? Let's talk about it.
Definitely.
That was a great segue.
Right.
But before we talk about it, Bert, tell us how you joined the Power Rankings committee.
It's simple.
Yeah, Bert, how you do that shit?
It's simple. Just message me on Twitter at Burt Maclin 11 if you love Impact, and you can get out of top 10 every week. That's all we care about. So Burt Maclin 11.
All right. Well, with that being said, let's play these Power Rankings. Number 10, Bully Ray. Number 9, The Foundation, Jonathan Gresham. Number 8, Crazy Steve, EK. Number 7, Tag Team Champions, The Dead Dolls. Number 6, Kenny K.I.N.G. King. Number 5, The Black Widow, Giselle Shaw. Number 4, Ace Austin and Chris Bay, Bullet Club. Number 3, World Champion, Mickie James. Number 2, World Champion, Josh Alexander. Number 1, Callahan and the Design. All right, wow, very interesting top 10, I'd say. So let's start from the beginning. Number 10, Bully Ray. You know what? Honestly, I'm not surprised he is number 10, but wow, good segment with him and Mickie James. Honestly, I'm really enjoying the little dynamic that they're doing with Bully Ray and Mickie James. And then he went backstage and started talking to Masha Slamovich. Now I'm very curious to see what is going to happen between Bully Ray and Mickie James and possibly Masha Slamovich. Bert, what are your thoughts on Bully Ray being number 10?
Well, I actually want to piggyback off something that Jeff said on the big show. Over on the big.
Well,
here's the big show.
Bully Ray to me is almost like just further cementing himself as like an all-time heel. The more promos he does, and like he commands the room as a heel. And like when he ripped that kid's sign, I felt that. I was upset. You know what I mean?
Me too.
Even though like that kid knew it was gonna happen. Like, maybe he was thinking maybe Bully Ray was a changed man. You know what I mean? People keep falling for it. So, I'm fine with Bully Ray being number 10. And, like, I see him sticking around a lot longer than I initially thought. So, they keep finding ways to keep him involved that are interesting. So, number 10 is a perfect spot.
Lucha?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't wrestle, even though he did drop Mickie, with a couple body slams and almost put her through a table. But he was kind of a constant throughout the episode. So I mean, for him, he had to be in the committee's head so much because he was in so many different parts of the show. where they had put him in number 10. That had to be the justification of it. But Bully does bully things because he is a bully. He was the best heel in the game in 2011 before Aces and Eights was even a thing. He was the best heel in the game then, and he's slowly but surely coming back to be the best in the game now. He's just on one, and I like it.
He not only was he the best heel in 2011, he also had the best calves in the best calves in 2011. Okay, and he was trending on Twitter the whole time, if I believe him and his calves.
All I'm saying is, if Bully Ray goes for the digital media title, I won't have a problem with it because Bully stays with the Twitter machine at all times. Hashtag Calfzilla.
He should win that. They should win that. Scott, if you're listening.
And when you put him, next time he's on the top 10, it's got to be Calfzilla Bully Ray. It's got to be.
And I'll be sure to remember that since I did the voiceover for the Power Rankings. All right. Number 9, The Foundation, Jonathan Gresham. He was actually at number 9 last week, too. So it's very interesting that he's just kind of like steady 2 weeks in a row. Burt, why do you think that is?
Well, he's kind of like on this enhancement tour right now.
Yeah.
Where he's going and giving young upstarts a chance. You know what I mean? He's kind of a goodwill tour. Like, he just won a championship, so he's kind of, he's facing a bunch of Washington Generals like the Globetrotters would. You know what I mean?
Not the Washington Generals.
Is that supposed to be a reference to something? I'm not following.
One of the many teams that the Harlem Globetrotters used to go and like spin the basketball off their eyebrow against on a nightly basis. I would hate to be a team that plays the Globetrotters because you're gonna get embarrassed. It's terrible.
But yeah, no, Gresham, we are getting Gresham versus Speedball, so now it's kind of making sense. Like, this is almost like him warming up till we get what should be a classic between him and Mike Bailey. So him at number 9. Again, I always say I can't see anybody that he should be ahead of. So him at number 9, that's right where he should be this week.
Lucha?
I mean, that's basically it. Like we said, he's on the build the foundation tour, if you will. You got to start at the bottom and lay the bricks and, bend kneecaps different directions. So, he's treading water where he should, but with this match coming up with Speedball between now and then, he really has no reason to go down at this point. So I mean, this should be the start of the rise of the foundation.
A rise that we all cannot wait to see.
Facts.
All right, number 8, Crazy Steve. Honestly, good for Crazy Steve. Hell of a match, and it seems like the rivalry with Trey Miguel is still not over. But what do you guys think of Crazy Steve being number 8 and the rivalry with Trey Miguel continuing?
Well, the rivalry won't end until we have the Body Armor Strawberry Grape Lights Out match at Rebellion. That's the only way that it can end.
Okay. That's good.
You know what I'm saying? Or like someone's got to get thrown into a vat of Body Armor in water, and that's just how that's going to end. It's crazy that Steve made it to 8, but I guess that just goes to show that we still decay. Things still decay, and so does the top 10 apparently.
Yeah, they're a fan favorite, so they're always gonna. That's what I'm saying. They're one of those people. They've reached that like Sami Callihan level, Rosemary level. Decay doesn't have to like win the fans are gonna cheer him. They're gonna sing the theme song. You know, that's why I said we want them to win so we can sing it twice. So him at number 8, I'm totally cool with it.
The tag team champions, the Death Dolls, number 7. Okay, well, I'm really happy that the Death Dolls are on here. I know they were involved in a backstage segment, but really happy to continue seeing them on this week's Power Rankings because they were MIA from the Power Rankings for a really, really long time. So really happy that they're back on. Burt?
Each week they should be somewhere on there because you would think that they are the tag champs. And, you know, the past few weeks when they weren't on there, there have been reasons why you could make why they shouldn't be there. But yeah, I think this week it totally makes sense with them being there at number 7. I'm completely fine with it. And yes, I'm glad to see them back in the countdown as well.
Lucha?
I kind of understand why they weren't on the, you know, in the power rankings for such a long time because they were always just kind of like you know, they were just kind of there. They would show up, you know, when they would get dubs and all, but like between them being there and then them also taking non-title losses a lot, like in singles actions. I remember either Tasha or Savannah, one of them beat Taya when they were having their program before Hard to Kill, and then during the Atlanta tapings for the digital media exclusive, Giselle pinned, I think it was Rosemary or Jessica, somebody. Giselle got the pin, Death Dolls lost. So, I mean, as champs, you know, they've kind of been taking a lot of non-title L's, just kind of throwing them away because, you know, they're not playoff games, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they've kind of they've been treading water based off the fact that they're champs, but they'll show up when it's time, but they won't really show up when it doesn't really matter.
You know, I feel like the Death Stars are in the same position as the Good Brothers were like a couple last year. They're tag team champions, but the division is non-existent. There's nobody there left to challenge them, which is the same situation with the Good Brothers. There was nobody there to challenge them until later on. So that is the situation that's going on here. Is the Death Dolls? There's nobody. There's nobody. I mean, the Knockouts tag team division took a huge hit. They lost the inspiration. They lost the influence. Vex split up because Chelsea Green left. So realistically, who's there left? Tasha's taking time off. So realistically, who's left to face the Death Dolls?
I think Max probably got some ideas. So,
and it'll just be about if they can make their way to the top 10. I mean, we saw in the show Killer Kelly and Taylor Wilde. They seem to be hinting at some sort of a possible union. So, you know, we just got to see how far they can get. They have a match against Death Dolls. Next week? Wouldn't be surprised if they win against the Death Dolls because, like I just said, they kind of, you know, phone it in non-title matches.
Yeah, no, that's true. All right.
So they don't do their case any good with that, you know, that mindset trying to navigate these power rankings.
No, yeah, you do make a great point there. I see what you mean. All right, number 6, Kenny King getting a victory over poor Johnny Swinger, who is on a quest to get 50 wins so he could get a title shot. Honestly, I'm really happy to see Kenny King on the power rankings. I think he had an incredible match against Speedball Mike Bailey. Fortunately, he lost, which is why he didn't make the power rankings. But you know, I feel like now, yeah, I'm really happy to see him back on there. He's doing great with stuff. But I mean, it is Johnny Swinger that he fought.
Uh-huh.
And that's why I'm having this face, because who did John Gresham fight on BTI?
Aiden Prince?
Okay, so is Johnny Swinger a more impressive victory than Aiden Prince? And not only that, like let's look at momentum here. John Gresham is kind of, he's been on the Building the Foundation tour, so he squashed his fair share of tomato cans, where to get to where he's at now at 8. So freaking Kenny King can beat the swingman daddy and come through at number 5. I don't know. If I was John Gresham, I would feel slighted. Hell yeah, he's pissed. I'm pissed for him.
No, he's 6. He's number 6. You said 5.
Oh, 6, 5. It's higher than John Gresham. It's a crime nonetheless. I'll fight for John Gresham if he don't want it to fight for it himself.
First of all, Kenny King. Well, if you look up the word legend in the dictionary, Johnny Swinger's picture is going to be there. So by that measure, Kenny King beat a legend.
Actually, Burt, you're wrong, because if you look at legend in the dictionary is going to say, "Did you mean Johnny Swinger?"
Okay, fine. I'll give you that. But I think Kenny King arguably. Okay, I think Kenny King is this high up more because I think he had the second best. We'll get to I think had the first best, but I think Kenny King had the second best promo of the show. His promo was very, very good, and so I think it was less about the match and more than what he had to say after the match. I think Kenny King is starting to get hot right now, and I could see them doing something with him. They're going to continue to do something with him. And I wouldn't surprise me if he gets a title shot down the road.
And I'll take your same logic and throw it against you. Look what John Gresham did after he beat Aiden Prince. He challenged the man who beat Kenny King, Speedball Mike Bailey, to a match at the next Plus special.
And if I to go to that real quick, I wish they would do another pit fight for that match, because I think that would be an even better. I think that could even be a better pit fight match. It's not like I don't want them to keep doing it that close to each other, but I just think that would be another opportunity for it.
Speedball and John Gresham would be that's the perfect pairing to do a 30-minute ultimate submission match.
Yes, it is. That would be.
All right. Number 5, the Black Widow, Giselle Shaw, getting I would say impressive, but she had some assistance in getting her victory over the cannibal, Savannah Evans.
Justified assistance. Don't
get me wrong. I love Giselle Shaw. She's really, really good in the ring, and I love her whole quintessential diva gimmick. Honestly, her whole entrance is FABULOUS.
No way! Whoa! That's not her.
I know, but it is fabulous.
That may be the case. You got to do a different spelling. You can't do that spelling. You can't do the FABOLOUS. You gotta spell fabulous a different way.
Okay, fine. Her whole entire entrance is great. It's phenomenal. Or can I not use the word phenomenal either to describe her entrance?
Yeah, that's somebody else's thing too.
Jeez, at this rate, I'm gonna run out of adjectives. But and she also cut one hell of a promo too. She's putting everybody on notice that she is the Black Widow, and she doesn't care that Chelsea Green went home because of her. She doesn't care that she split, that Tasha Steelz is at home because of her. She doesn't care about anybody but herself, putting people on notice. Burt, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, like I said, she had the best promo of the show. I think it was spectacular. And yeah, she added another nickname. Let's keep adding more until she has more than Daenerys, who had 10 in that show, if I remember. So let's keep adding nicknames. Maybe she need to keep breaking up teams, because like we were talking about earlier, they're running low on teams. So no more breaking up teams. But I think by the end of 2023, she'll be the Knockouts World Champion. She's heating up. We're watching a star being created before our eyes. So I think next week she could be even higher than 5, maybe even top 3.
Well, she's gonna have to do. She's gonna have to do a whole lot of what she did this past week, and let's get dubs against strong competition. And then at a certain point, it's gonna come to where she's gonna have to get these dubs, a little more legitimately. Because once stuff starts to get tight, come pay-per-view season, because that's when these power rank. We're all from pay-per-view to pay-per-view. We're just all about we're just getting things positioned right now. You know what I'm saying? So stuff's gonna be wonky. People are gonna go from 10 to 1 to not ranked to 1. Stuff's gonna be funky. So this is a point to where she needs to get wins so that she can have that Jordan Grace, that Mickey James, that Josh Alexander type resume, to where when she's not in the top 10, it's a crime. And I think Giselle's got a long way to go before she gets to that point.
I don't think she needs to get these victories more legit, because I believe there was a certain great wrestler who used to lie, cheat, and steal to get the job done.
No,
it worked out pretty well for him.
That may be the case. That may be the case, but Eddie was not fighting to get in one of the most prestigious ranking situations in all of professional wrestling, and that is the talking nonsense about Empire Wrestling's top 10 power ranking.
That's true.
Eddie didn't have to deal with that.
It's true. It's a different day now.
Yeah, the game has changed. There are more eyes on you. There's more at stake. You know what I'm saying? These top 10s, this power ranking is getting more and more prestigious and complex and hard to figure out as the weeks go on.
I agree.
Sorry.
Alrighty then. Number 4, Ace Austin and Chris Bay, Bullet Club. Too sweet.
The best thing on the show.
Getting a major victory over Kushida and Kevin Knight. Oh my god, that match was impressive. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I really enjoyed that match. It was a great opener for Impact Wrestling, and wow. I'm glad to see Kushida again. But I don't know. I'm really happy to see Chris Bay and Ace Austin picking up wins, because I feel like logically, if they keep picking up wins, the next step is to face Motor City Machine Guns. Burt?
And also think Ace and Bay are on the top 4 also for some extracurriculars. They became the tag team champions. I think it's in Wrestling Revolver. So congratulations to them. They're hot right now. They're re-energizing Bullet Club. I think they're bringing that energy. They've been tagging for less than a year, and look how great their chemistry in the ring is. They look like they've been tagging for years, and yeah, they're two the cornerstones of Impact going forward. They're both future world champions in Impact going forward. But yes, they're going to be tag team champions in the future, sooner rather than later. And if I can say real quick, Scott, if you have the paper and pad out still, sign Kevin Knight.
That was beautiful said, Burt. Beautifully said. So what are your thoughts, Lucha?
I mean, coupled with the fact that, this is another consecutive win for them. They beat major players a few weeks back, and then they get this impressive win against Kushida and Kevin Knight. That art of finesse catch that Bay hit Knight with on the apron was top 3 worthy alone. I'll just put it there. Now, Bert, when you talk about the teaming of Ace and Bay, I think Jeff said this on the main show. This is kind of like AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels teaming together when they linked up. So, you know what I'm saying? So put that with where we are now and what's ahead of them, which is the Machine Guns, another team that they're being compared to. This is a lot of TNA going on right now. So
who's Christopher Daniels and who's AJ in the team?
They're both AJ, in my opinion.
And I would say AJ is Bay and Ace is Daniels.
They also, to me, remind me of when the Young Bucks joined the Bullet Club. They're just adding that.
Thank you.
They're adding that brash energy. I said that a few weeks ago. They're adding that like brash energy. Like I also want like a trios team of them and Jay White. Like they're great. And let me just say real quick too, everyone else might as well give up because the art of finesse that he hit off the ring apron, that's winning the Nonsensi Award at the end of the year for
sure.
That's gonna win
Definitely.
it. Anything else is gonna be and the way Tom Hannafan, and also cheers to Tom Hannafan, his commentating on that with Matt Raywald, they sold it perfectly. They were jumping out of their seats. You could tell they couldn't believe what they saw. So that's gonna win it. That was incredible.
That would have been a perfect spot for a TNA chant.
Yes. It would have been.
Alrighty. So number 3, world champion Mickie James. She had an incredible spot with Bully Ray. She slapped Bully Ray, trying to put Bully Ray in his place. Burt, your thoughts on Mickie James slapping Bully Ray?
Well, it's about time. Mickie James deserves number 3. Again, she could have been number 1 for me this week because she is our world champ, our Knockouts world champ. She is probably top 2, I think, runs of her career. I think right now she's on fire, and yeah, I would have been fine with her putting the title on the line against Bully Ray right then and beating his ass. I would have been fine with it. And also, even though she didn't need it, part of me thought Nick Aldis was going to run out there for some reason, just because I was like, Bully Ray needs a match coming up. I don't really see anything coming up, but anyway, Mickie James, to me, like I said, she could have been number 1 for me. I think this is like one of like the top like runs I can remember of her career, and Impact does these like, whether this is her last run or not, I hope it's not, because she looks incredible out there in the ring. She looks like she's in her prime still. She's still in her prime. So number 3, she could have been number 1 for me. So
Lucha?
I mean, I pretty much second everything Burt said. He did kind of put the nail right there on the head. This is a different level of Mickie. You know what I'm saying? And for Mickie to still be able to kick it in different gears this late in the game is just a testament to her greatness. I kind of put Mickie I look at Mickie as like the female Shawn Michaels, in a sense of, what she brings into the ring each and every week, and like how she sells her ass off for everything. Her spot in the rankings this week really is just, it's got to be just based off the fact that she's the champ. She came, she did Jack's like Bully, but like Bully pointed out, Mickie is kind of like treating her actual objective, Masha Slamovich, as an afterthought. So she's not even worried as much. Like almost like I said, the Death Dolls weren't even worried about, week to week action. Mickey's almost kind of sort of starting to slip into that same mode as well if she keeps looking past Masha.
Oh, yeah, I feel you. Bully Ray, they point that out. She's not really too concerned about Masha. She should be.
She should be.
Yeah. She should be, but that might cost her. Who knows?
That's
We
why
gotta
we
wait till
play
no
the game.
surrender. Number 2, our world champion Josh Alexander, who unfortunately could not lead his team to victory. His team did lose, but he did not get pinned. And I feel like because of that, the reason why he's number 2 is because he is our world champion. But I don't think he could be number 1 because he lost that match, and the person who he lost is actually number 1. So, Burt, your thoughts?
See, that's why I would reverse him and Mickie, just because, for one, and because he's world champion, so it's still top 3. But number 2, the main point is, I think it's because, like, especially in an 8-way match, it's very easy for anybody to get lost. There's a lot going on. You know what I mean? And I don't think that he had one of the top performances in that match. I think that match, first of all, was all about our number 1 team, even if they won or lost. I mean, our number 1 spot in the rankings, even if they won or lost, and we'll get to them. But I just think that, like I said, there was a lot going on. And for me, I was more paying attention to Rich Swann, just because he's our number 1 contender. For one, I want to see how they built him up as we get to his match with Josh Alexander. They got to keep him hot. They got to keep him looking strong. And then obviously, I was watching Callahan because the story is, how far is he loyal to design as he's trying to prove himself. So I'm fine with Josh. I'm fine with him being number 2. I would have number 3, but he is our world champion. It's almost 300 days now. This is record-setting time every time he goes out there as world champion. So I'm fine with it.
Lucia?
And see, what we were saying for Mickey and what Burt just said about Josh, which I completely agree. That's the type of stuff that I need to see out of Giselle Shaw for her to get that staying power and be a quintessential top 10 person. And with how deep things is, I don't see it. I don't see that. Like, Mickey has not lost since Chelsea beat her, this point last year or something like that. So, she's been on the road. Josh hasn't lost himself personally. Who knows how long? It's been forever. So
a year since he lost to Moose. Although he did lose one time. I think he got DQ'd. I think he lost by DQ. I think
that sounds right. But even then, that also
he hasn't gotten pinned since Moose beat him at Bound for Glory.
Yeah, so they have that cash, that ability to, even if they're on the losing team, just because of everything else that you've done, that still gets you top 2.
No, yeah, I can see why you say that. And like we said, Josh hasn't gotten pinned since Moose beat him, and everything that he's done up until now warrants that number 2 spot because unfortunately he did not lead his team to victory.
Now, before we get into number 1, though, it's crazy that Rich wasn't on the 10 at all, to my knowledge, was he?
No, he actually was not, and that's a surprise because he is our number 1 contender. You would have thought he would have made top 5 at least, but then again, he was on the losing team, even though in the main event.
Hey, numbers man, who was number 11? Do you know?
You just call him numbers man?
I'm not sure on the top of my head, but if we're talking about people who should be on the top 10, we all know who should be here. And
so then who are you taking off? Well, of course.
Who am I taking off?
To put Rich Swann, the number 1 contender.
I could take Bully Ray off. I could take Gresham off. I'm just saying, Rich Swann. Okay, you know what? Okay, and then wait. So our top 10 was Bully Ray, Gresham. Who was 8?
Crazy Steve.
I'm taking Crazy Steve off. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm taking Gresham. Don't put me in one of a million holds. Don't hurt me. I'm taking
that man off. Will make your hair follow, tie your hair follicles up.
I'm taking Crazy Steve off, and I'm putting Rich Swann because, like I said, this is like the rebuilding of Rich Swann since he lost to Kenny Omega. Like they're making Rich Swann look like a world champion again. So he should be on this count. I'm taking Crazy Steve off. And keeping Gresham on.
Yeah. What say you, milady?
Me? What do I think?
Yeah.
I would have to take Crazy Steve off because I mean, I don't get me wrong, he had a good match. I feel like Rich Swann being number one contender gives him a little bit of an edge over Crazy Steve.
I'm gonna be controversial. I'm taking Kenny off, and I'm putting Rich at Kenny's spot.
Is it because Kenny beat Johnny Swinger?
It's because Kenny beat Johnny Swinger after taking a loss, and Rich Swann is still the number one contender. He didn't get pinned, just like Josh didn't get pinned, so it wasn't his fault. And Rich was number one last week because he was the number one contender.
To Johnny Swinger. The
disrespect to Rich Swann. The disrespect to Steve Maclin. We skipped over him last week.
Unintentionally, I forgot about that. And I feel bad for doing that because I love Steve Maclin.
His cousin did it on purpose. He was mad because he didn't pass the piece.
Steve Mac, we could take out, if you want to take out him, Kenny King, that's fine. Take out Crazy Steve and put Steve Maclin somewhere because Steve Maclin, they're almost creating a baby face, even though he's a heel, because people are going to start getting pissed for him. What does this man have to do to get a world title match? He even suggested, and then a match right then, and Santino said, "No, you got to win basically 2 more matches to get a world title match."
They're treating him real Austin-like in the rise of Steve Austin. I feel I'm feeling that vibe.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm liking this.
Yeah.
All right. So our number one is Callahan and the Design getting a big victory over Impact World Champion Josh Alexander, number one contender Rich Swann, Frankie Kazarian, and Yuya Uemura. They actually pinned Yuya to get that victory. So your thoughts on Callahan and Design being number one and them getting the victory over Josh, Rich, Frankie Kazarian, and Yuya? Burt, you want to go first?
No, Lucha go first.
I mean, I wouldn't have put him at 1 because, it's just one match. And, what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure, wasn't Callahan the guy that Rich pinned to win the six shooter?
Yeah.
So, I mean, for them to go from, 8 the week before that to not rank. No, yeah. I think they weren't ranked last week. And then now they're back to 1. But, I mean, I guess to somewhat justify it, they did beat a team that consisted of the world champion and the number one contender and the guy that just came back. So, and, Yuya. So, there's some credibility with the win, with it being a super win. I guess super wins are a thing. We're going to make super wins a thing.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Okay,
super wins are a thing now. Yeah, so.
Well, I think what them being number one tells me more than anything is the committee is valuing that main event win.
That main event win is really
it's a big win because
it is.
They especially the way the commentators the whole time and we still got our main event. They hyped up the match the whole time. Every week they're making the main event feel important with the booking. So I think the committee really looks at that main event, and now I want to see what someone has to do to get in that's the number one spot that's not in the main event. What are they going to have to do?
Man,
first of all, I don't think if the main event spot's a contract signing or a promo, that ever should be number one. But it might be, but they seem to value that number one spot. So this week it was the Design. I think they look really Design 2.0. They look really good. I think Angels continues to be almost one of those an undrafted, someone who went undrafted and Impact was able to pick up for really cheap. Great signing by them. I don't I'm not insane that Big Con is a Diener. Is Big Joe Doring. I would never insult Big Joe by saying that he's nowhere near Big Joe. But Con looks great. It's the heavy out there. And I think Diener, this is his best, his best character work that he's ever shown in the time he's been in Impact, for when he was with the Dieners, or all the way back when he was dating ODB. Very, very rough relationship. And so I think Cal and Sammy, I think he needs something different. So I like this. I like him being part of the design. Whether this is all for him to turn on them in the end, which we all think it's probably gonna happen. But yeah, I'm fine with them. I like them at number 1.
Yo, it just clicked. That's why Diener murdered Eric Young, because Eric Young took ODB from him.
We've
and
talked
Eric
about
Young met. So Diener
Wait,
really
someone fill
loved
me in
ODB.
here. So Diener was dating ODB. I know they did a whole storyline with Eric Young and ODB, and then becoming knockouts champions.
Well, now that I think the whole group was formed on the foundation of them still being in love with ODB, and them being, maybe upset that they both lost her.
ODB, VBD.
Yeah.
Oh!
I need a chalkboard.
My
No, they both were in a storyline relationship with ODB in the past. Diener way back in the day, and then Eric Young and ODB actually got married on TV and were the final knockouts champions.
They got married in a steel cage in their drawers.
Yeah.
In the main event. That's number 1 shit right there.
Yes.
Wait, that was the main event?
Yeah, that's how we ended the show, with them getting married in a cage in their drawers.
Oh my god.
Well, it was a beautiful thing. I hope we cover it on LOL TNAIW one day.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right. Well, I think we pretty much wrapped up. We've talked about everybody. We've talked about their spots. Is there any last comments you guys want to say before you're ready to sign off?
No, I think this show was a very, very solid show, given that, you could argue that maybe it was a slower week, since we're a little ways from our next pay-per-view, so the build's not as in the crunch time moments as it would be in a couple weeks. But I still think it was a very good show.
Lucha?
Yeah, it's gonna take about another week or so before things really start to take the form. Yeah, it's gonna be this I'm looking forward to the post no surrender top 10. To see how different things are. We should really start keeping track of pay-per-view top 10s to see how crazy they change from month to month.
Yeah, that would be a good stat to keep, especially to see when that seems to be the most movement, usually before and after a pay-per-view.
No, yeah, definitely. Before the pay-per-view and after, it seems like it's such a huge shift. People you don't expect to be on there are on there, and people are in weird spots. So very interesting if we do that.
And then with the pay-per-view weeks, they kind of get the double whammy, because you have the go home show and the pay-per-view. So performing well on both days is real important when it comes to your spot on the top 10.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, you messed me up. Now I gotta do it again.
And yeah, well, support all the content on the channel. That's the Big Show talking nonsense with Jeff.
Well,
TBN over with talking bloody nonsense with Craig and Nixon. And yeah, and obviously our show.
You mean your show?
No, it's
Your show.
Our show.
Whatever.
One of these days, Bert's going to take over the show. He's going to take advantage of my absence, and he's going to just completely take over the show.
That's going to be like First Take, when it's just Stephen A. and Max, and all hell breaks loose.
Right? All right. they were saying, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continuing support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever this video drops or whenever TNAIW releases a new video. Make sure you tune into Twitch live every Sunday at 8 Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, so you can check out the big show. Well, I should say the main show, not the wrestler big show, but the main show.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Ooh.